We are Southeastern 16. We're talking a little SEC football today. Chase Robinson, Chris Lee here with you as we're going to dive into Missouri football a little bit today, Chris. And you've put together some things we're going to go through. As far as Missouri's schedule, what kind of an outlook for the Tigers could be. So we're going to look at that in just a second. But first, got to tell you about our friends at Bet Online. They are the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, you can head over to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or over the 150 slots games. Head over to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. So, Chris, we've talked about Missouri's schedule. We've talked about Missouri and previewing their season. But you've put together, and you're doing this for every team, some numbers using some rating systems and kind of showing what their schedule could look like. Are they going to be favored or whatever it is? So give us a little background on what you've done and what it looks like for the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, Chase, we have talked about Missouri's schedule a while, as have others, and you talk about it, but sometimes you put something together that really puts it in perspective, and then you take a look at it, and it's like, wow, this really pops off the page. And as I was going through, this is what I've done, and this is not my model. I'm not swearing by the accuracy of these predictions. I'm not telling you this is what you have to think, or I'm endorsing all these things. But what I have been doing is I've been going through team schedules, and I've been going and saying, all right, how many points above or below average are the teams in the SEC and the teams they are facing? And what I've used as a model, as I've taken our friend Kelly Ford's rankings, I've taken SP Pluses, and I've taken ESPN's FPI. There are more out there that do this, and I could add them, although the more you add them, you're probably going to get, things aren't going to change that much. But I've said, all right, how many points or above or below average do these models think each of these teams are? You could see on average, this model says Missouri is 18.1 points above average. I've taken every opponent on the schedule and put in a corresponding number. In the HF column, as you can see, is I've given every team, if it's a neutral game, it's a 0. Missouri doesn't have any neutral games unless I've missed something. And I've taken the home field advantage. If you're home, you get 2.5 points. If you're away, you subtract 2.5 points. And out to the side, the SPR is the spread. And this is what it's telling me that the spreads are going to be. Murray State, that number is probably not accurate, but I think we all know that, if Missouri doesn't kill Murray State in opening night, then we're going to have some issues. So, Chase, when you start to see these numbers at the right of the screen, what pops out to you?
Well, I mean, knowing the schedule Missouri has, and we've talked about schedules and we've ranked our SEC schedules, and Missouri was down at the bottom, so it's a favorable schedule for the Tigers. But yeah, the fact that there's only 2 games that they're not going to be favored in, and it's really close against A&M and then against Alabama as well. And there's some other close spreads there, but the fact that Missouri is going to be favored in most games, and the games are not favored in, is going to be very close. I mean, I think there's a lot of optimism, I know, heading into the year for Missouri. But if you're a Missouri fan and you see the potential here of what the season could be for the Tigers, hey, this is there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, okay, some of these games are just going to be bloodbaths if the computer models are right. You've got 5 games in which Missouri is going to be at least a 21-point favorite.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy. How many teams are going to have it on their schedule going in? Not a lot.
Not many at all.
5 games that are absolute no contest. You can give Missouri 5 wins off the bat. Then you go down, and there's 3 other games: Auburn, Mississippi State, Arkansas, that the model sees Missouri as a 10-point favorite or more. I don't know how many teams in the country would be projected to be 10-point favorites or more by anybody in the country. It's not a lot. I'd have to go through. I don't even know that Georgia's going to have that this year. I'd have to look at theirs. But here's the point. If you're going to go ahead and give Missouri every game in which it is a double-digit favorite as a win, and by the way, you adjust South Carolina's ranking just a little bit the other way. That's another game. Chase, that's 9 games in which Missouri could be a double-digit favorite.
Yeah, that's incredible. And obviously it has to be played on the field. Anything can happen. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, and we know we've talked extensively again about Missouri, about their team. This is a really good team. Like, this is a playoff team. And if they do what they're supposed to do, win the games that they should win, it's no doubt they're going to be a playoff team. But again, when you really break it down, when you look at the numbers and when you look at how the schedule falls, and I think that's important to look at as well. Like, yeah, these first 4 games, those are very winnable games. I think Boston College may bring in some challenges. They're not going to be, the level of winning the ACC or anything. So that's definitely a winnable game for Missouri. That second 4 after the bye week, I think 3 of those could be challenging. 2 of those they're underdogs in. Auburn, I think could be better than we think Auburn's going to be, than they look on paper. I think they could look better on the field. So that game may be different. But yeah, that last 4 as well, starting off with Oklahoma right after the bye week, that's going to be a close game. You see your number there, 2.4. I mean, that game could be really close. So I think the way their schedule falls helps them out a lot too. And ending the season with really 3 teams who we think are probably going to be towards the bottom of the SEC in South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. So the way their schedule falls, I think, helps out a lot. But yeah, I think there's a lot of reason for optimism if you're a Missouri fan heading into this year looking at these numbers.
Yeah, let's work it from the other end, okay? The game that Missouri is going to have the hardest problem winning is the Alabama game. And as you can see by the negative 2.5, that's in Tuscaloosa. But I think Missouri, a 1-win Missouri is not going to get left out of the playoff, right?
Right.
So you could sort of, I'm not going to say that makes the Alabama game irrelevant. Now, look, if you win that one, then holy cow, you're really playing with some house money. But that is one that anybody I think is going to get a pass for losing in Tuscaloosa as long as there aren't too many other blemishes. So that we've kind of eliminated, if we accept this model is correct. And again, I'm not saying we do that, but I'm just doing this as a thought exercise. You got 3 games that are really kind of in the balance, with that Alabama game being one. But if we can see that as a loss, which I don't even think we should do that. I mean, Alabama lost to Texas at home last year. And then again, the title of this is going to be, can Missouri go unbeaten? So I don't think that's a give me. Then you've got 2 more games left at this point. You got A&M. They're less than a 1-point dog. That's in College Station. We really don't know what A&M is. I think we can kind of be a little more certain of what we get with Missouri because of so much of that returning passing production. You got your same quarterback, you got that same receiving room. And then we got Oklahoma, which is a team that I'm fascinated with. That game is in Columbia, which is going to help a lot. And you get it after a bye week. So like the 2 games that are really the key games on your schedule, Chase, A&M, Oklahoma, you get both those after a bye week. I mean, I don't think the schedule could have possibly lined up to be more favorable than it turned out to be for Missouri in terms of not just who, but when.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it hangs on this Oklahoma game because, A&M's going to be tough playing it in College Station. Alabama's going to be tough playing in Tuscaloosa. But the fact that you get Oklahoma at home, I think is huge. So all of this, because there's going to be quite a few 10-2 teams, but I think Missouri at 10-2 can get in the playoff. I really do. I think that. So this Oklahoma game right after that bye week is going to be huge in Columbia. You got to win that one. Because even if you do happen to drop one to A&M and Alabama, one or the other, or both, you've got to win this Oklahoma game. There's not going to be a 3-loss team in the college football playoff. So I think a lot depends on that Oklahoma game. And you see the spread there. It's close. But having this in Columbia, I think, is going to be huge. So I think that Oklahoma game may be kind of the swing of which direction Missouri is going. Are they a playoff team, or are they going to be in a good bowl game? But I think a lot hangs on that Oklahoma game.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of like what could you possibly arrange differently in your favor? And I mean, I might rather have Oklahoma earlier in the schedule because you just don't know what Jackson Arnold's going to be. But say you switched Oklahoma and Boston College in the schedule, then you don't get that bye week in there. So it's really trading one thing for another. It's just it is really and this is not a shot at Missouri, right? We think Missouri's a really good team, but part of things are you a good team, and the other part of getting to the playoff and all those things is how do things line up for you? And I just think, if you're looking at a graph where it's good team, good circumstances, you got Missouri in that top right quadrant of your graph. And I mean, I just think the more I look at it, it just lines up so well.
Yeah, I think this is I'm excited to see what Missouri can do. And again, it all comes down to play on the field, but they have the players to do this. They got a lot of experience coming back. They've got some good replacements for guys like Cody Schrader that they lost last year. So I think the ceiling is very, very high for Missouri. We see it in these numbers right here. I think they can do it. I really do. I think this could be a magical season for Missouri.
Also, I think they've checked the bingo card of hitting all the teams that wear crimson this season. As you look at the schedule,
they have.
There's a big preponderance of red teams on the schedule for what it's worth. But anyway, Chase, can't wait to see how the Tigers do this year. We'll be here to cover them, and I just think it's a fascinating exercise looking at that schedule.
It really is. We got you covered all things SEC football and basketball and baseball as well. Hit that subscribe button there on the Southeastern 16 YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter as well at 16 Southeastern. We got you covered all season long, all year long here on Southeastern 16.